他是今年首位访华的拉美和加勒比地区国家元首。他的国家将春节定为法定节假日。他说，华人对当地经济发展贡献巨大。他感谢共建“一带一路”倡议为地区发展带来机遇，期待两国在多领域的交流合作更上一层楼。高端访谈专访苏里南总统单多吉，敬请收看。
关注国际焦点，洞察世界风云。大家好，欢迎收看本期高端访谈，我是王冠。这个国家和中国相距万里，却有着不解之缘。春节是这个国家的法定假日，而首都随处可见中国元素，它就是南美洲国家苏里南。在两国建立战略合作伙伴关系5周年之际，苏里南总统单多吉应邀于4月11日至17日对中国进行国事访问。这是单多吉总统就任以来的首次访华，也是两国元首5年来首次直接会晤。中国给单多吉总统留下了怎样的印象？两国元首进行了怎样的交流与探讨？而今后两国又将如何共同擘画双边关系的发展蓝图？让我们一起在对话中寻找答案。President Santoki, welcome to Beijing, China. China and Suriname seems to be getting a lot of firsts, if you think about it. Suriname was among the first countries in the Caribbean to recognize People's Republic of China, to join the Belt and Road Initiative, and it was the first country in the Western Hemisphere to designate the Chinese New Year as an official national holiday. What do you think is behind such firsts in our connections?
Well, there is a third first, and that is that my country, which was the first country where the Chinese people came 170 years ago.
To the Caribbean?
Yes, and my country was the first one. They have visited as indentured labor, yes. And from that moment, they stayed. And I think this is the most important reason why there is a strong bond between Suriname and China. The corporation started 170 years ago based on people-to-people contact. And from that people-to-people contact, the business started in Suriname, community business, grocery business, small and medium enterprises. After the independence of my country, that the diplomatic relations started between Suriname and China. Because of the history, because of the bond, because of the people-to-people contact and business. After the diplomatic relation, we entered a new era of cooperation. And that is why we should be the first in the Caribbean together as first country, the former cooperation, and also the first country to sign the Belt and Road Initiative.
苏里南位于南美洲北部，东临法属圭亚那，南界巴西，西连圭亚那，北濒大西洋。苏里南国土面积16.4万平方公里，森林覆盖率高达93.2%，是世界上森林覆盖率最高的国家，因此也被称为森林之国。从170年前第一批华人抵达苏里南，到华人成为苏里南多元社会的重要组成部分，两国跨越万水千山的友谊不断加深。2015年，春节成为苏里南的永久公共节假日。2019年，中苏双边关系提升为战略合作伙伴关系。2020年，两国成为互免签证国家。今天，苏里南与中国的不解之缘仍在延续。
So do you celebrate the Chinese New Year, President Santoki?
Yes, we are celebrating nationwide. All the groups. Suriname is a very diverse community comprising of several cultural and ethnical groups, and we are celebrating it nationwide. It is also a national holiday, but in addition to that Chinese New Year, we are celebrating also other festivals like the Moon Festival. We are also celebrating the Chinese Immigration Day. And last year was the anniversary year of 170 years arrival of the first Chinese in Suriname. So it was also a national holiday. We as nation, we had celebrated and that we had enjoyed. Also, the Chinese contribution to the Surinamese national culture. That on one hand, the Chinese community managed to keep their tradition, their history, their language, their food. On the other side, contributing to the Surinamese national culture and also contributing to the unity, the nation building, which is very important for the development of my country.
United yet unique fusion, that is a key identity observed by many of Suriname.
Yes. Particularly the culinary, that is well known by everyone who is visiting my country. And they are going back, that they have visited the country, but not only the culinary of the several cultural groups, but also the fusion of all the groups, which has created something special, a special taste, which no one can forget. And everyone remembering it, that taste was the best taste of my country.
How would you personally celebrate the Chinese New Year?
Well, I have a lot of Chinese friends, so we are celebrating it jointly. With this capacity as president, you're celebrating it formally with the Chinese community. There are a lot of associations in Suriname comprising of Chinese organizations. So you have to celebrate firstly with them, formally addressing them. Secondly, you're also celebrating informally by visiting the Chinese families, the friends coming together. A lot of delicious food and drinks are offered. And we're sharing also our view on the Chinese New Year. This year is the Year of the Dragon, the meaning of the dragon, and the view of the Chinese community, also on the relation between Suriname and China, the role in the Surinamese community. So a lot of issues are discussed during this festival.
Mr. President, talking about Suriname's connection with China and perhaps your own connection with China, can I share with you an anecdotal fact?
Okay.
Your name, Santoki, translates in sound into Shandoji, which means abundant luck.
Great.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I have several definitions, so I'm now hearing another definition. And the most common one I'm hearing is it has to do with patience.
Talking about your state visit to China, you've met with President Xi. What do you think are the important outcomes of your state visit?
This state visit is an expression of the historical bond what we have as the 170 years of relation, 48 years of diplomatic relation, the Belt and Road. Also anniversary which we celebrated last month. I think this state visit is expressing that historical relation, but on the other side, it is also expressing that we two leaders and we two nations, and we can differ in size. There can be a long distance between Suriname and China, but that these two leaders are in fully agreement that the cooperation and relation should enter a new era, that it should be brought to another level, the next level. On one hand, confirming once again the cooperation in the traditional areas of cooperation, the culture, the trade, the business, the people-to-people contact, tourism. Other side, giving the new challenges in the world, that we need to identify new avenues of cooperation. And that happened.
Which may include?
Well, we signed a lot of agreements in the area of food security, that there is Chinese technical assistance program at this moment continuing in the district of Saramacca, where the technical team of China is using high-tech to develop the agriculture, but moreover, training the local community, how they can increase the food production, how new type of crops can be cultivated, which are having better quality, but which are also resistance against diseases. The other issue is the issue of climate change. Those are global issues. And I just had a meeting with the Forestry Corporation of China, where we agreed that we should have also cooperation in getting technical support and technical assistance for the forest, sustainable forest management and sustainable forest policy. As a country, we are a carbon sink nation, and 93% of our territory is covered with forests. We want to keep that, but we need that technical assistance. So those are the new areas of cooperation, but also based on the Belt and the road to have new infrastructure programs and projects implemented in my country, and also putting the cooperation in a more regional perspective. Guyana and Suriname, on one hand belonging to South America, but on the other hand belonging to CARICOM, the Caribbean community, that we can function as a hub. And therefore we are building a bridge. We are requesting for financial support on building that bridge between Suriname and Guyana, which is not only a physical bridge, but a bridge for the regional integration of North and South America, a bridge to connect the Caribbean region with South America. Well, that is exactly the philosophy and Belt and the road, and that is the request what we have. So these are the new areas of cooperation.
2018年5月，苏里南成为首个同中国签署共建“一带一路”合作谅解备忘录的加勒比国家。在共建“一带一路”框架下，双方既建设关乎国家发展的重大工程，也开展惠及民生的小而美项目，共同打造南南合作的典范。苏里南人口逾60万，其中农村人口有20多万。不仅居住分散，还有茂密的热带雨林和大小河流相阻隔，基础设施建设相对滞后，很多村民的生活用电问题还没有解决。
Niet genoeg. Ik heb maar 1 paneel boven en het is niet genoeg om mijn vriezer aan te zetten, mijn tv, om kleren te wassen in mijn wasmachine. Het is niet genoeg. Ik heb maar 1 paneel boven.
在中国建设者的帮助下，苏里南村民们的心愿正在实现，稳定供电在当地变得可能。2023年6月，中企在当地建成了第1个混合电站，目前在建的第2个混合电站项目也完成近40%的工作量，预计今年年底将落成发电。据介绍，第5个电站计划将于2025年9月底建成。这5个电站发电总量可以满足1.4万村民的用电需要，这一数字相当于苏里南农村人口的7%。
You visited China. What impressions have China made on you back then versus making it on you right now?
Let me put it more specifically. I came firstly as Minister of Justice and Police in 2008, when I was Minister of Justice and Police, to discuss with the government of China on close cooperation, on establishing mutual legal cooperation, on establishing also agreement for extradition, training, etc. But in 2011, I was elected as the chair of the political party, the Progressive Reform Party, VHP. And in that capacity, as the newly elected chair, I brought a visit with party members to China, and there we had agreed to have close cooperation with the CPC, the Communist Party of China. And yes, we had workshops, we had training sessions, there were exchange of views, and that is what we need as small nation, as political party in Suriname. We have to deal with a multi-ethnic society, a multi-religious society, a multicultural society, small in size. But we can have exchange of view. how we are doing and how the CPC is doing over here, and the role between political parties and government. We agreed as two presidents that we should bring our cooperation to a higher level, that we should expand our cooperation to new areas of cooperation, but moreover, that we shouldn't deal only with bilateral issues, but that we should discuss also regional issues. The cooperation between China and CARICOM, the cooperation between China and the Latin American Society, the CELAC, but also to support each other on global issues.
What is your biggest takeaway, Mr. President, from the Chinese path to modernization and its development model?
China is a big nation, and we there, Suriname is a small nation, that we can differ in size and population, but we share the same values. We share the same views on how to preserve the planet, that we share the same views how we can deliver a contribution to get that peace and solidarity and prosperity for the mankind. And those things are also very important because it starts with sharing the view. And if we are in agreement, then we are taking the next step in taking actions. But I'm going back to Suriname with that view of a great leader. We had a formal meeting where we agreed on several areas to strengthen the cooperation.
Did you get a sense of his soul, so to speak?
Yes,
and, what do you think of him as a leader?
Yes, and I think I told him also that there's a person here with a lot of wisdom, and there is no university of wisdom, but there's a person I'm seeing here with a lot of wisdom. And please, President, colleague, look how we can use this wisdom for the world peace, but moreover, love in the world.
Specifically, what kind of a person and a leader does President Xi strike you with through your formal interactions and, like you said, informal sessions?
Well, formally, you have met him very often on conferences. Formally, you've seen him on television, where he's giving formal statement, where he's taking formal position. Well, that is the picture what you have. But when sitting there, and to be very honest, I think I get all the things I wanted to hear from him. And those were international issues, those were global issues, those were the role of China within the framework of Latin America, his view on South America and Latin America, his view in bilateral relations with other big nations, you know, his view on the United Nations, his view on the threats in the world, and I noticed his the spiritual side of him as a leader, and that is what I call the wisdom in him, which we need to utilize and bring to the world, and trying to influence the world with that wisdom.
So, Mr. President, during your meeting with President Xi, you said this about Taiwan. You said Suriname will firmly support China's efforts to reunify the country. Can you be more specific?
Since we took the formal position as a nation, as an independent nation, Suriname, towards China 48 years ago, our position was quite clear and firm, that we will support the one China principle. That is also now, and that will be also our future position. And I have the confidence that he will manage to have that reunification with all the parts of China.
You said at the United Nations General Assembly last year that in the past 4 years, not much has changed for the better regarding the essential elements of peace, prosperity, and climate in the world. On the other hand, the challenges and crises have increased and deepened. In light of all these, how do you look at President Xi's initiatives on global development, security, and civilization? And how do you think these Chinese conceptualizations are different from previous Western paradigms?
I think this is an example, once again, that President Xi is expressing that, yes, I went to the museum of the the evolution of the Communist Party. And I was fully impressed. What was the history of the Chinese people, what China is now, the struggle, their hardships, and the fight for freedom, the fight for independence, and yes, to build a nation for all the more than 1 billion Chinese people. There can be, in a timeline, a strong focus on national issues, to unite, to reunite, to develop, to invest, to create at that time, one Belt, one Road in China first. But when you have reached that level as country, that you can be recognized as a leader, whether you like it or not, you will be called for taking responsibility as a new leader, an emerging country. However, a developing country like Suriname, I'm noticing that with that leadership, the President Xi Jinping is offering new types of development for the world, new global initiatives in the area of development, in the area of also reducing the poverty, in the area of security, the Belt and Road Initiative to bring prosperity, to increase connectivity, to have investment in all the regions. And I think that he is succeeding. And on the other side, more and more countries will follow the path of development based on this philosophy.
President Toki, thank you so much for this opportunity. Please come back and, should I say, come back often.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.在专访中，单都基总统多次表示，中国和苏里南拥有超过170年的民间往来，而这为今天两国间的政治互信和经贸互通奠定了基础。考虑到苏里南独特的地理位置，他期待着未来苏里南能够成为连通中国与加勒比地区、中国与拉丁美洲之间的枢纽。好，感谢您收看本期高端访谈，我是王冠，我们下期再会。